enjoy this. Mary is a professional speaker, trainer, and an executive communications consultant and coach. And forgive me for reading this, but I want to make sure I get it right. She coaches leaders, celebrities, executives, professional athletes, and entrepreneurs. Some of her clients have included Mark Kelly, the astronaut married to Gabby Giffords, Martina Navratilova, Billie Jean King, Peggy Fleming, Bernard King, an NBA All-Star, and numerous Olympic athletes. Mary has appeared on ABC's 2020, Dateline, CNN, The Today Show, Good Morning America, Nightline, The Early Show, Geraldo, and has been on over 100 local TV news shows around the country. Boy, that's quite something. She's the author of the book, The Charisma Coaches, Guide to Becoming an Influential Personality, which is available on Amazon. She's also the author of the 8-CD set called From Introvert to Influencer. That's kind of neat. How to connect, communicate, and captivate. This is accessible through our office directly. You may email Mary or visit www.marygardner.com for further details. So she has a really long bio, but we'd be here all night, and I know she doesn't want me to do that. So let me stop now, and really my pleasure, and all of you give a real good welcome to Mary Gardner.
We're talking about connectivity. We're talking about things that are very, very simple. So we're going to have some fun, but I want to take a temperature read right now in the audience. Who here tonight is going to be coachable? Everybody! Okay, I coach a lot of athletes, and athletes are so easy to coach because they've been working their whole life. They've been told what to do all their whole life. So sometimes professionals are a little bit more of a challenge. And so some of the stuff that we're going to do tonight is a little bit out of the comfort zone. So what I want everybody to do right now is I want you to raise your hand. Hi. Okay. And proclaim, I will be coachable tonight.
I will Tonight I will go further.
Awesome. All right, very good. Now what I want you to do is clasp your hands together in a plank position.
Okay.
All right, who has your right thumb over your left thumb? Okay, who has your left thumb over your right thumb?
Me.
Okay, good. Even split. All right, what I want you to do is clasp it, change it. Change it up. Okay, a little uncomfortable?
Yeah.
Right? Okay, how many days does it take to create a new habit?
7.
How many?
71.
Whatever. We know it's all right, at least 21, right? I mean, because at first we're really not comfortable with it. So some of the stuff we're going to do tonight may become uncomfortable, but what did you tell me a few minutes ago?
Coachable.
You're going to be coachable. All right, that sounds good. All right, so what we want to do when we're building relationships is the very first thing, we want to take a temperature of ourselves, and we want to take a temperature of the people that we're with. And if we consider where we are in our society right now, they call it the new normal. They say that things have changed over the last several years. You guys are doing really well. But let me ask you a question. Are all of your clients doing well?
No.
Right. Okay? So one of the things that we want to do is be there for our clients as an empathetic ear. And studies show that people do gravitate towards people who are the calm in the storm. A lot of the people that you're coming into contact with are stressed. It is a fact that we are living in a world right now where there is so much information. Just keeping up with your email and your texting and your Facebook and your Pinterest and Twitter. All of that is so overwhelming to a lot of us, but yet we're expected to do it. They say that in our society now, if one day of the New York Times has more information in the New York Times than the whole 17th century people that lived there in their lifetime. Today, it's the kids that are coming out know 1/1,000,000th in high school what they've got to know. So we've got it's too much information. So it causes a lot of stress. So one of the things we're going to talk about tonight are some very, very simple techniques that will help us not only be an empathetic ear, but to help us succeed in the workplace. Now, when some of the people are stressed, I think about one of the things that all of us experienced was 9/11. You guys are bankers. I lived in New York City. I was working on Wall Street at the time as a trainer at Goldman Sachs. And I remember that day because I worked in the World Trade Center. That was where we worked, not every single day, but I was off that day. And so that day, and I was able to be in New York I was there a week ago, and I sat on the bench where I was able to see everybody coming back that day from down on Wall Street with the dust on their hair, and it was a very stressful time. People were very solemn. People were very, very quiet. It wasn't frantic. It was when people get stressed, we go inside, we get very quiet. And so it was just me acknowledging and us acknowledging each other and saying, thank God you're alive. And it was just the ability to be sympathetic to see other people. Well, we were all living in fear, we were all living in terror, and one person really came to be the beam of light that all of us looked to for hope, and it was Mayor Giuliani. Do you guys remember him on TV when he said, you know, this is a horrible thing that's happened, but we will rebuild, we're New Yorkers, and the entire country looked at him as somebody that could give us hope. And that is what I'm challenging you to do. And I'm asking you right now, what is the experience that people have around you? Are people enjoying you? Are they, like John said, people are bored? Which I don't believe at all. I thought he was quite fun. He's the one that wears red socks, right? He's quite fun. But what is the experience that people are having around you? And can we up that game? So 9/11 was a big experience for a lot of us. But I would like to share with you about all of us creating an environment of backstage and onstage. Backstage is where we keep all of our negativity. Backstage is the home environment. Onstage is the second you get to work. Now there's a book by Dennis Snow, and Dennis Snow is the executive at Disney World. He wrote a book called Lessons from the Mouse. And he talks about, he was an intern, and then he became an executive at Disney World. So he got to see all the ins and outs of being an intern and being an executive. And he said that behind the scenes, you can't believe what's out there. You know, you've got Mickey Mouse, you've got Pluto out there, they've got their heads off, they're smoking, they're hanging out, you know, they've got, you know, their outfits halfway, you know, pulled off. But nobody gets to see that because why? Why do people go to Disney World?
Have fun.
Have fun. They're there for magic. They're there to have a great magical experience. They're not there for like the, you know, the popcorn and rides. They're there for really a magical experience. And that is the same for you guys. You guys have created a brand that people want to be around. So how can we go to the next level? How can we connect better? How can we build relationships that are better? Now we've got internal customers who are who? Yes, exactly. And you've got the external customers. So it's not just that you keep the negativity away from the customers. I remember I had a client, I was doing a training in the state of New Jersey, and there was a group of people, and one of the guys kept texting. He was texting the whole time. I'm like, hey, dude, I get paid whether or not you're participating or not. But I'd like you to be with us. I'd like you to hang out and have fun. He chose not to. So I said, listen, love you, dude, but either participate or leave. And guess what he did? He left. I was like, why? Oh my God, no way. But he did. He took off. And so here's the fact. If you come into work and you're being frustrated with your coworkers, you're not communicating well, that is going to be transferable to your clients, and they're going to feel it. They're going to feel it. So it is important that we keep the backstage mentality, all the stuff that's negative, and when we come to work, we become that person, that beam of light, that is supportive, and we're an empathetic listener to the people that we're with. We're support to them. Now, how do we be that person? Do we want to fake it? How can we be that person? So these are some of the little simple things we're going to talk about. So simple meaning, again, you guys promised to be coachable. So simple is really some of these things are easy, some of them are simple, some of them are going to be a challenge for you. But I love the story by Bill Walton. Bill Walton, you guys know Bill Walton, basketball player. He was one of the world famous basketball players by UCLA. He was asked one time on a radio show, what was your number one thing that you learned as a sports person? What was the best gift? What was the best lesson? He said, the best lesson I ever had was when I went to UCLA. I worked under Coach John Wooden, and he said to everybody, all right, first day of practice, take off your socks. Take off your shoes and socks. And they're like, what? He said, take off your shoes and socks because if you don't have your socks put on right, they're going to bunch up. If they bunch up, you're going to get a blister. If you get a blister, you're not going to play good in the game, in the practice. If you don't play practice, you're not going to win games. Everybody take off your socks. So now, I want all of you to take off your shoes and socks. Joking. Relax. I promise to be coachable. Joking. Except for Wade over here, who has promised to do anything that I have asked him to tonight. So, Wade, help me out here now. Just joking. All right. So, very first thing that we want to do is take care of ourselves, obviously. All right. So, we cannot fake it. We don't want to fake it. We want to be the kind of person that it does extreme self-care. So, let me ask you, what are some things that you can do that make you feel like you are fulfilled, you filled your cup, you filled your bucket, you feel good to go out to the world? Tell me, what are some of the things that you guys do to make yourself grounded?
Sleep.
Sleep! Excellent. What else?
Eat.
Eat! Yes! What do you eat? That's the question. Are you enjoying it? Are you depriving yourself? What else?
Enjoy yourself.
Exercise. Fantastic. What else?
Yoga.
Okay. We all have something different, but we have to acknowledge, give ourselves permission to take care of ourselves. How many of you are parents? How many of you know that you have put your children before you so many times, and you barely get through the day, and you're exhausted? That's very, very common for a family. But you can take 15 minutes in the morning to to ground yourself, to write in a journal, to meditate, to pray, to exercise. And you deserve it. And you know what? Your bank needs you to be at top level. Your customers need you to be at top level. I loved working with Martina Navratilova. Martina is a very humble person. And she shared a story with me that I'd like to share with you. Martina, after 7 Wimbledons, decided that she was burned out. And Billie Jean King was her coach at that time. And Billie Jean said, you know what, you're going to quit. You're going to quit everything right now. You're going to take a year off. And I want you to do something every single day. I want you to keep a journal of your physical state, your emotional state, and your mental state. Every single day. P.S., E.S., M.S. I want you to look at those things. And so Martina did. She had the journal. She started writing in it. And she realized, oh my gosh, I'm so much more than tennis. I have friends, I have relationships. She picked up photography at that point as a hobby. And at the end of the year, she decided to go back into tennis, but she did it this time fully out. She loved it. She was excited. And she won 2 more Wimbledons as a full human. So all of us have got to take responsibility and choose to take care of yourself. That will help you take care of your customers. Now, if we are starting to look at those things, it's automatic that we start looking at making goals for ourselves. How many of you have written goals right now at home? Probably about 10 of you. Did you know statistically you're way more likely to accomplish a goal if you write it down? There's been many studies about this. So what I want you to do right now is think of a bucket list. What are things in your life that you haven't achieved? Is there anybody here that has anything in your personal life, professional life, maybe get another job, maybe have a better relationship with your spouse or your children, maybe get more dinner party, maybe run a marathon? Does anybody have goals they haven't accomplished yet? Everybody raise your hand! Okay, you're not dead yet, right? Okay. Let's talk about goals really quick. Goals are so exciting because one of my clients was Mark Kelly. Mark Kelly said there's different people that will do different goals in different ways. Gabby Giffords, his wife, was one of those people out of the blocks. She was brilliant from when she was a child. She was one of those kids that's like, up on stage. She was Annie. And then she went all the way and worked on Wall Street. And she sold her parents' business for millions of dollars. And he said, right out of the blocks, she was a success. But not Mark. Mark was probably like most of us. Well, probably like me. He was a hoodlum. He was a hoodlum when he was young. Actually, I was like a really good girl. But he was a hoodlum. He threw rocks at cars. He was not somebody setting goals. His dad, who was one of the police chiefs, actually said, we are going to look at doing a trade school for you. So he wasn't accomplishing anything. And then something changed in his life. His mother, who was a secretary and a receptionist, made a choice to better her life. So she decided to go from being a secretary and a receptionist to becoming the first female cop in her area, in her community. And so one of the things she had to do, she's 4'11", but one of the accomplishments she had to do was a physical fitness training test. And she had to scale a 7'4" wall. So her husband built a 7'5" wall, and every single day after dinner she would go outside and she would try to scale that wall. She'd try to get over. She couldn't even, in the very beginning, she couldn't even get her leg up. She couldn't even touch the top of it. And finally, after many falling in the dirt, coming out exhausted every single night, she'd go back in and go back the next day. She finally accomplished it. And when she had to do the physical fitness training, she didn't only do it in 9 seconds, she did it in 4, and she beat most of the men. So Mark saw that you do not have to be out of the blocks. It's possible that all of you have a belief about yourself, because we all do. If we haven't accomplished something, most of us think, you know what? What's the use? I'm not going to do it. Never been able to lose weight. Not going to happen. I just don't believe it in myself. So we all are possibly finding those things. So what I want you to do is I want you to think, just right now, what is one thing that you would like to accomplish? And I want you to get up on your feet right now, and I want you to get excited. All right, stand up. Everybody stand up. around you. But that's when you stop and take a rest. You're going to get off track, you go back to it. And after you start accomplishing goals, guess what happens? You start building self-confidence. You start getting excited, and you start feeling it. And that is the energy that people are going to love about you. That's the brand. If you're going to be content and go to school or go to work every day, yeah. I'm ready. Yeah. Customers, come on. Yeah, you're real magnetic. And people are really going to be around, want to be around you, and have a great experience. But if you start getting excited about your life, people are like, oh my gosh, what is it about that person? They got something. They got something different, and I don't know what it is, but I want it. I want to be around it. So that is what's going to happen. So I want to hear you guys say, yes, sir! I'm doing my goals! I'm doing my goals! All right. And if you don't know how to tonight, and write it down, They just did a study, I heard a study about seeds that were 4,000 years old. They actually planted these seeds. They were all put in some sort of bag. 4,000 years later, they grew. So the seeds of friendliness that we are giving to people are going to last for a long time. So that is the number one thing. Now, in conversation, have you ever been around somebody who you guys could tell was a little negative?
Negative,
you didn't know to come up. Hey, and pick a buddy. Pick a buddy. You gotta have a buddy for this. All right, let's go. Okay, would you all please welcome Ray and Chris? Okay.
Just to let you know, the weight takes tonight going around. That's
Casey, I'm sorry. Casey, I apologize. You and Chris. Yeah, good to see you. Okay. Now, you guys know how you've been around negative people before? Don't you love that? Isn't it like so awesome? Okay, come over here. Casey, okay. All right. So think about this. I want you to stand here. We're going to face each other. All right, you guys know in the boxing ring with Muhammad Ali or anybody, do you know that they have to, when the bell rings, they're going to be pummeling each other like immediately, right? So they're not going to go up like, oh, hey, how you doing? Good to see you. You know, because they're probably friends. They've been fighting each other for years. And probably yesterday they were in the ring like, I'm going to get your Loro, but they're probably friends. So they got to do some kind of mental something on themselves to get them ready for the ring. So we're going to be a little bit of Muhammad Ali. So his thing that he did to get psyched for the ring was he remembered back when he was bullied, when he was a kid. And somebody took his little red wagon, and that ticked him off. And he started thinking about, you took my little red wagon. You stole my little red wagon. You stole my little red wagon. I want you to get angry at Chris. Because Chris is stolen your wagon. I want to hear you tell Chris you stole my little red wagon.
You stole my little red wagon.
So what? Do it again.
You stole my little red
Louder!
You stole my little red wagon.
Again.
You stole my little red wagon.
Again. Everybody up! I want you children in. You stole my little red wagon. They jumped in my presence. All they did was feel what I felt. So that energy that you project is one of the most important things things about your communication. You need to control it. You need to know that if you're a person that talks a lot, you need to go and write in the morning, and you need to exercise.
That's the reason Betsy always white in the back.
If you don't have enough of it, you need to move, okay? You want to manage energy. All right, now I want to take everybody down a notch. Breathe. Calm. All right, how do we get ourselves out of that place? There's a couple of ways. Visualization. I want everybody to close your eyes right now. I want you to go to that place in your life that is your happy place. Please be quiet. See how long that negativity lasts? Seriously. We got these people in the back like, yeah, I'm hanging on to mine. No way am I letting it go. All right, calm. All right, think about that happy place, whether it's at the beach, whether it's your toes in the sand, whether it's in Colorado, it's in front of the fire. Calm yourself down. All right, open up. That is how you can go into a broom closet. Go back to that quiet space to get rid of that negativity. If you have it, you need to control it. Deep breathing, meditation, whatever it is. You don't bring it to the office. That's it. All right? All right. Okay, next thing. We want to talk about communication, and we want to talk about trust. I heard a story recently, actually just today, about my friend Bob, who is a communication guy. He's a great guy. And he goes to a bank that he loves. And he actually will only go to the bank after 2 o'clock. As a matter of fact, his wife wants to go to the bank. He says, oh, you've got to wait for 2 o'clock because Joanna, she gets to work at 2 o'clock. And so she'll totally take care of you. And so there are many times where if he's an entrepreneur, so sometimes he's a little bit late getting his checks in. And so sometimes he's like, Joanna, can you help me out and take off some of those extra charges you've got, that we have? So she helps him. She does anything. They have built a relationship. So when we're talking about conversation, communication, and listening, empathetic listening, we're talking normal stuff. They talk about, how are you feeling? What's going on? Oh, I had a little headache this morning. Oh, Mr. Khan, I'm so sorry. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. How are your kids? It's normal stuff. So simultaneously, I heard another story about another friend. She is a woman who was divorced and had a lot of money, and she tried to connect with her bank, and nobody really, kind of generic conversations like, hi, Mrs. Yeah, you're right. So one day she had a very big transaction she needed to accomplish, and she needed a favor, and she went to the bank, and it took forever. They didn't bring her coffee. She sat in a little lobby. They were like, excuse me, yeah, I'll get to it when I can. She sat there, waited. And finally, she's like, this is it. They finally did accomplish what she needed to do, but it took hours, a long time. She didn't feel the service was great. The next day, she went, she took her money out. Of course, then what are they doing? Like, oh, we need you, we want to take care of you now. No, it's too late. So she ended up finding a banker that did so much for her. And so now, she goes out and she spreads the word to everybody about what she is in love with her bank. So now we're going to talk about some of those conversation skills. How many here would consider themselves to be an introvert? Introvert. Okay, an introvert is not necessarily a shy person. An introvert is a person that gathers their energy from inward. And who would consider themselves to be an extrovert? Extrovert so that means a lot of people don't know. So maybe you're right on the fence, which is fine. But an extrovert is somebody who gets their energy from other people. So what I want everybody to do right now is I'm going to stand up. We're going to do a quick exercise with your conversation.
What's left?
What is the standard greeting that we all in America, that we say or we do when we come into contact with somebody? Okay, see, come on up. Okay, is there anybody from a Latin culture here? Ciao. Yes, yes, yes. Hi, nice to meet you. Ciao. So professional. Yeah. Really want to work with him. Okay. Standard protocol is a handshake. I want everybody to put your hands up. Okay, it's the web of the hand is where we're going to go. Okay? And it's 1, 2, 3. Now, Warren talked about it earlier. Smile, eye contact. Do you know that if somebody would look somebody in the eye for 2 minutes, guess what would happen? Or how are your children? What's going on? Oh, hey, I know you're biking. favorite thing, the favorite thing anyone could ever hear. Their name. Their name. Their name. If you can integrate somebody's name into conversation 3 times, now I have a name, Mary Gardner. I always tell people it's Mary Gardner. Mary, quick and cherry, how does your garden grow? So that's how people remember me. I rarely say it, unless I'm on stage. But if you've got something that's a hard name and it rhymes with something, give it to them. People are always forgetting names. Let me ask, how many forget names? Put your hands down. Don't ever say that again. We're giving ourselves permission. Make it an effort to remember people's names. It's one of the best gifts that you can give to somebody. I want to do one more exercise and then chat with you just briefly about your ambassadorship that you offer or you are engaged with as an ambassador of First United Bank. But I'd like you to stand up very briefly because I want to show you a quick technique that is a sales technique. Make people feel comfortable in your presence. Okay, Casey, come back. Okay, now, this is called mirroring and modeling. This is something that you can use as a sales technique that people use if you're with somebody that's uncomfortable and you don't know what to say to them. What I'd like you to do is, okay, everybody freeze right now, freeze. Don't move. All right, I'm going to point out a couple of people because everybody is all ready. There's 2 people here, lady here in the red, what's your name? Lisa and? Edward are standing exactly the same. You see it? Right? Okay, look at these 2 ladies right here. Standing exactly, 3 right there, 4. Oh, look at these 2. Exactly the same, right? And we got a couple over here, big hands behind, right? Okay, so here's the thing. We do it anyway when we're comfortable with people we're with. We model each other with our bodies, okay? You also do it with your tonality. There was one time I was working with somebody on the phone, and she had a very dry voice. And I would call Susan, and I would say, hello, Susan. This is Mary Gardner. How are you? Fine, Mary, how are you? I'm good. Guess how much money I made off of her? Like a ton. Whoops, I made a ton. So you guys, if you can mirror the people that you're with, and if you can match their tonality, and their excitement or their love, their energy, their pace, their tone, their expression, if you can mirror that, they will feel comfortable in your presence. What I'd like you to do is for 1 minute, we're going to do a mirroring exercise. I want the person to face your conversation partner right now. Whoever has the shortest hair is going to be the one that mirrors the MaryGardner.com. A lot of this is on a free workshop. You're welcome to download it off my website. I just want to speak to you briefly about the opportunity for you to be in a privileged position for First United Bank as an ambassador for your company. If you guys unite in your communication and you love yourself and you love each other and you love your customers, you're going to do very, very well. And as an ambassador, you take on the role of a spokesperson. And I have trained spokespeople, and I've been a spokesperson, And it's absolutely essential that when you're asked that you have a message, that you have a message of enthusiasm and excitement of working for your company. So let me ask you this. When somebody asks you, where do you work? Do you say First United Bank? Or you say, hi, I'm Casey, I work for First United Bank.